Sometimes the biggest news is hidden in the fine print. Buried deep inside India's latest budget was just a single line. But it's a line that could completely reshape the country's energy future. We're talking about a massive bet on nuclear power, with a goal so ambitious it's a staggering 12 times bigger than anything the country has today.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem, doesn't it? I mean, India is on this incredible trajectory to become an economic superpower. That kind of growth? Well, it needs a mind-boggling amount of energy. But at the exact same time, you've got this promise made to the world to fight climate change. So that's the billion-dollar question. How do you fuel a nation's rise and protect the planet? It's a huge puzzle.
In that puzzle, well, it brings us right to what you could call India's great energy challenge. It's that classic tug of war, development versus sustainability. But this is happening on a scale that very, very few countries have ever had to deal with before.
So let's just unpack these pressures for a second. On one hand, the national goal is clear, Viksit Bharat, a fully developed India by 2047. That takes a ton of reliable, always-on energy. On the other hand, you have this huge international pledge, slash carbon emissions, and get half your energy from renewables by 2030. Now, solar and wind are fantastic, and they're growing like crazy, but the sun doesn't always shine and the wind doesn't always blow. So that leaves a gap, a really big one. What can possibly provide that clean 24/7 power?
And the answer? Well, as this quote makes pretty clear, it's coming straight from the top. The strategy is to go all in on civil nuclear energy. They're not just seeing it as an option, they're putting it right at the very core of the country's entire development plan.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this plan. This isn't just some vague idea or talking point. It's a formal, official mission, spelled out in the budget, with a very specific and very, very large number attached to it.
And there it is, right there in black and white. The official budget document itself kicked off this nuclear energy mission for Viksit Bharat. So this is real. It's a formal national priority. And it gives us that number, the one that defines the whole ambition: develop at least 100 gigawatts of nuclear energy by 2047. Now, to really get your head around how huge that number is, you've got to know the starting line. Right now, as of early 2025, India's total nuclear capacity is just a little over 8,000 megawatts. Okay? Remember that number, 8,180. Now, compare that to the finish line, 100 gigawatts. That's 100,000 megawatts. No, that's not a typo. It is a more than 12-fold increase from where we are today. A leap so absolutely massive, it just begs the question, how on earth could that even be possible?
Well, the answer isn't what you might think. The key to this incredible scale-up isn't about building more of those giant, sprawling nuclear plants we're all used to seeing. Actually, it's pretty much the opposite. It's about thinking smaller.
The secret sauce here is a technology called Small Modular Reactors, or SMRs. So don't picture those massive, decade-long construction projects. Instead, think of them more like high-tech, factory-made Lego blocks of power. They're designed to be built way faster, way cheaper, and you can put them in all sorts of new places. That scalability, that's the real game changer.
And get this, India is actually tackling this with a two-pronged approach. First up, you have the Bharat Small Reactors, or BSRs. Think of these as the reliable workhorse, taking proven, existing tech and shrinking it down to plug directly into big industrial hubs. Then you've got the true Bharat SMRs. These are the next-gen sports cars, brand new, cutting-edge designs that are super flexible, perfect for powering remote towns or even taking over old coal plant sites.
But here's the thing. Cool new tech is great, but it doesn't pay for itself. A project of this scale needs money, a lot of money. And that brings us to the second, absolutely massive shift in this whole plan.
So, for the first time ever, the plan is to swing the doors of India's very tightly controlled nuclear sector wide open to private investment. And to make that happen, they have to basically rewrite the rulebook that has governed nuclear power there for decades. This means they're rolling up their sleeves and overhauling two huge laws, the Atomic Energy Act and the Civil Liability for Nuclear Damage Act. The goal is actually pretty simple. Create a legal framework that makes it a no-brainer for private companies to jump in and invest. And to show they're serious, the government is putting its own skin in the game, allocating 20,000 crore rupees just to get the SMR mission off the ground. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 100 gigawatts? Sounds like science fiction.
But the thing is, this isn't just a dream on a piece of paper somewhere. The momentum is already building, and it's real. They're not starting from zero.
I mean, just take a look at this. There's been steady, solid growth over the last 10 years. Capacity has almost doubled. What that means is they've built a solid foundation of experience, and now they're ready to use it for this next, much, much bigger phase.
And you can tell the pace is really starting to pick up. Just recently, boom, 2 big new homegrown reactors go online in Gujarat. Boom, a next-generation breeder reactor hits some critical milestones. Another reactor in Rajasthan goes critical, which is a huge step. And on top of all that, a major partnership just got signed to build even more plants. The wheels are definitely in motion.
Of course, you can have all the fancy reactors in the world, but they're pretty useless without fuel, right? Well, on that front, some amazing news just dropped. A brand new uranium deposit was found at India's oldest mine, and it's big enough to extend its life by more than 50 years. This isn't just a small detail, it is absolutely crucial for making this whole 100-gigawatt dream a long-term reality.
So this all maps out a pretty clear path forward. It's not just about that one giant far-off goal in 2047. They've set up a crucial checkpoint along the way. Nearly triple today's capacity to over 22 gigawatts by 2031. It's the first major stepping stone. Kind of like saying, let's prove we can do this first before we go for the whole shebang.
So, when you put it all together, you've got the game-changing technology, you've got the new laws to bring in the private cash, and you've got these incredibly ambitious goals. India is placing one of the biggest energy bets in the world, and it's on nuclear power. Now look, the challenges are immense, there's no doubt about it. But if, and it's a big if, but if they pull this off, it could solve the nation's energy dilemma for good. Which really just leaves us with one final thought. Are we watching the dawn of India's nuclear age?